Enthusiasm with multi-tonal voice.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Boomtown.
Right. Nice. Hello. Good day. So, Jules, what did you have for your Subway?
I had a vegan sub.
Vegan sub?
Yeah.
What does that consist of?
Well, I know it doesn't have in it. No meat and no animal byproducts. So everything about it is just clean.
Nice. So you don't go for the Italian herb and cheese?
Nah, I haven't had cheese now for months. Yeah, it's just not.
Do I assume you eat a vegan diet then?
Yes.
How long have you done that for?
Now, full-on vegan diet for 3 months, but I was vegetarian for the previous 6 before.
Yeah.
Because the transition is not easy. That's why I think I put it off for so long. Then I made the switch to gradual change. So I did 5 days on, 2 days off, and then after that I went in full in. Just this is it now. Took that leap.
Yeah.
And I never went back. And to be honest, what made it easier was the help of the stores. When they start putting out more products, it just makes life that little bit easier. I've heard stories of people being vegan for 20 years, and I'm like, how the hell was you doing that?
But in Southend?
Yeah.
When like there's nothing available, and it's all about, sourcing it off your own back. But now, just like many things, the convenience is there, so therefore it's easier.
Like it's so easy to live. Like in Israel, it's like everything's like beautiful vegetables and everything's so nice. It's so easy to be vegan because like the whole culture is like grew up like that.
Yeah.
Whereas like meat is just like, it's like a side dish. It's like if you want meat, we have meat. But there's so much beautiful vegetables and everything.
Yeah.
It's like just a different like culture.
I sort of ate, not really on purpose, when I went to India for 2 weeks. I was pretty much vegan then. But all the food was so tasty and flavourful. I didn't miss the meat actually, because I just used so many herbs and spices in there. It was great. Yes, herbs and spices. So avoided meat because I didn't want to.
Someone said something to me the other day. I don't believe that's the reason, but he said to me, I met him about a year ago, and he said to me, ain't it funny how you can cook meat, but a lot of people tend to spice it up. They add the herbs and the spices, and he said, why is that? And I said, it makes it taste better. And he said, so you're trying to disguise the flavour of meat by making it taste like vegetables.
Yeah, I got
mind you, if I have a good steak, I will just eat it on its own.
Right, this is what I used to think. That was my argument. I said to him, but I like steaks. He was like,
yeah. How do you feel on it? Do you feel good?
Yeah, I actually feel 10 times healthier inside. And the transition is like anything. When you come off of something, you do get withdrawals. You go through that whole process of your cycle changes, your mindset changes, your feelings change. Like when you come off caffeine, for example, you do get headaches.
I do that every so often.
Quite well known. You get a few headaches, and that's the withdrawal. After you break through, it's so much better. Like I used to smoke 40 a day, like day and night, because I was a soldier. So in Afghanistan, cigarettes were like sand. They were everywhere. You could get cigarettes, and we were just chaining them. I mean,
did they used to give them out, or did you have to buy them?
We bought them really cheap, nasty,
like the Afghani
asbestos. It was horrible. I may as well have just crushed up concrete and put it in a rollie and smoked it. So when I came off the cigarettes, that was a huge withdrawal. It wasn't instant. I'd give up 7 times, but then you go through the stages of feeling great, plateau, dip, get the shakes, get everything, get frustrated, people annoy you, all that sort of stuff. And then after you break through that, you just soar.
Yeah.
And I feel that's how it kind of is right now with my diet. Like I had to go through all of that same process, and I think I'm coming to the end of it, and then I will just soar.
Yeah.
So do you think what's your driving factors? I feel like because you've overcome that, do you have that mindset kind of set up in place for overcoming other things?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like fitness and all that, because you have to be in a certain headspace for that. So do you think that even as big of like quitting cigarettes is, do you think doing that has really helped just put that mindset in place? for future things.
Yeah, so we were saying earlier before we started this, I've got the worst mind. I beat myself up all the time. Like, I mean, I could look at myself in the mirror. I've got two mindsets. One day I'm up and I'm motivated and I'm the best person to myself. Like, I believe in myself. I love myself. And then some days I look in the mirror and I'm my own worst enemy. I haven't done enough, or I don't feel good enough, and so for me personally, I find discipline, overcoming things, helps me build some sort of character inside. Like, it makes me feel like I don't know, like I'm bettering myself.
Yeah.
So to giving up the smoking, and still a non-smoker for however, I can't even remember how long last time I smoked, but when you first do a month, you can feel good. I've done a month, then it's 2 months, then it's 3 months. How long you not smoking? Your friends know you smoked, and they're like, oh, really, really well done. How long has it been now? 5 months? Oh my God, mate, that's a great achievement. And that spurs you on.
It feeds into other things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You go, oh, if I can conquer that, I can conquer this next thing.
Yeah.
Even if they don't seem related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feeds into each other, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's all about the planting the seeds as well. And obviously, I do boot camps. That's my job. And to be a leader, you must lead by creed and deed. Therefore, if I don't, like, we're going to do a 5-minute plank challenge next month. Every day we start at 10 seconds and then we add 10 seconds every day. Now I can stand there and tell them to get in the plank position and start the timer, but I must do it too.
Yeah.
Because it's like integral. So when I'm putting myself through like vegan diet, for example, it has changed my life. I'm for life now. That is a good thing. But I do try other things. You know, I've got a girl that comes to my boot camp. She's fasting at the moment, and to see her still do the boot camp, she's the leader right there and then. Like, we're all not following, like, but I mean, she's setting an example that is that we can still fast and train.
Yeah.
You know, whereas some people would believe like, nah, don't do that. Eat. You need to eat or you're not going to train. But again, I don't know who's right or wrong. There's benefits to both, I guess, but the mindset, the discipline, the strength of resilient mind, she has.
Yeah.
She's showing. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why I do things like that.
Have you heard of Jocko Willink?
I haven't.
I've got his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Luke, shout out to
Extreme
Luke.
Ownership.
He got me that book on discipline. It's amazing, and it's just like all his like mantras and all his like knowledge and information is on there.
Which one is it? Extreme Ownership.
It's the black book with his face.
It's one of the things he says is that, he was ex Navy SEAL in America, but he does like podcasts, and I think he now has a company that he teaches. He goes around to companies doing training and teaching them leadership.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things he says is discipline equals freedom, which sort of sounds counterintuitive. Do you think of discipline as like putting you in a rigid box? But actually, if you're disciplined, you have everything in order, then you have time and space to do what you want.
Yeah.
If you're not disciplined, the world happens to you. You don't happen to the world, do you?
I think it's really important. Like, I feel like recently I've kind of been more aware that people need to have strong leadership. Like, when you have a lot of freedom, this sounds so like Marxist. when you've got not like a path, when you don't have a path or something, people get lost. I feel like I've been lost sometimes, even with my own business, because I speak to like my friends that have businesses, and I'm saying like, how do you get that drive to just keep pushing? Because I get complacent. I'm happy to like, I've got people calling me in, booking me for work, and I'm chilling. But if I want to get to that next point, that next level of work, and actually have a stronger business, I need to be that leader. But it's difficult sometimes when you don't have like that, someone telling you something. I think that's why it's so important to have someone like yourself, especially in boot camp situations, where you have someone that's drilling you, telling you that, and kind of pushing in that discipline, a strong discipline as well.
I get that 100%. Like, we all need a mentor or a coach, someone that is that person that pushes you. And like, you hear successful people all the time, they will have some sort of life coach, someone behind them, pushing them. Now, don't get me wrong, you have to find that person within as well, because the person within is your roots. They're your roots. Like, you can always rely on that person within, and some people find that person very early on, and some people need to build that person within themselves, you know. But yeah, if you know in yourself that sometimes you slack off, Sometimes you don't get things done. Sometimes it's on the today list, but you leave it till tomorrow. If you have a coach, like you say, as me as an instructor, I won't let someone slack off on a press up. I won't let someone slack off. If I send them for a run, let's say, for example, 200 meters, and I put a marker out there, I expect them to touch the marker. I won't let them just get close and then turn around. It's like you didn't go the distance. You go back. So if they come back, I know they didn't touch it because I see them, and I make them go again. I say, you were supposed to touch that, so go and touch that. That's, in a sense, why they pay me. You know what I mean? And I'm accountable to them. And I think in a business, if you do want to go to that next level, I think you do need an accountability coach, someone that's definitely going to say, get your ass up, we've got some goals to achieve, get it done. And then almost like a boss, but not a boss.
Yeah, that's why I enjoy doing things in partnerships, because I've found that I'm a lot more willing to let myself down than someone else. So if I'm doing something with someone else and I say I'm going to do it, then you've got that feeling of, oh shit, they're gonna.
Yeah.
Like, I need to. But if it's just me, I'll be like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. Accountability.
Accountability. Yeah.
It's so important, man. I remember like what was I say? There's I was speaking to Lee about this the other day, and I was saying that like when I work for other companies, so if I sit with another a client of mine and like, right, we need to overhaul, we need to do this and this and this. I'm like, right, this is the game plan. We need to produce this. This is your social media strategy. This is your campaign. This is what we're going to do. But I don't do that for myself. But I'm so easy to do it somewhere else because I'm like, oh yeah, we can totally get that, and you can see the results here, and we can boost that up. When it comes to my business, I'm like, yeah, took me like 3 years to get my website up. Because I'm just like, it's pretty bad.
I wonder why that is. I'm the same. Like, if I get other people's companies and I see it, like I know someone that just started a clothing company at the moment, and I said to him, right, you should definitely sell it at this price, and you should market it like this, because then come half the year later, it's a sale, so you can drop it to the price you was originally going to do it at. That's business. Why am I doing that for them? I had no idea. I didn't get paid, nothing. It just came from me. It just like, I had this vision for them, and I was like, awesome, let me get to work. Maybe I should do that for other companies. Maybe that's what I'm good at. Maybe that's what you're good at. Do you know what I mean? We don't necessarily need to be the bosses or the owners or anything like that. We're just I don't know what the title for it is, but...
It's like consultants.
Exactly. Like Richard Branson, I'm not saying I know the man, I don't, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't a guru at broadband internet.
Yeah.
Someone came into his company.
Delegated.
Yeah, someone came into his company and said, right, let's do this, this and this. That's how you do it, Richard. That's how you're going to do it. And he must have said at some point, you know what you're talking about. I don't. And he must have gave the reins to someone else.
That's what I feel like I realise that more and more. Often, like you say, these leaders, they're not necessarily... You can't be an expert in everything, can you? It's being the conductor of the orchestra, isn't it? You're going, oh, you're really good at that, and you're really good at that. You work together and do that, and you do this. You do
Even
this.
that's hard though.
That's
like,
very good.
I speak to like a mutual friend of ours who runs a digital marketing company, and they're always looking for like top quality candidates, and even that's really hard. You find like one person that's got tons of experience, but then they've got competition on who can get them. It's like, right, now you have to sell your company to them. And that's a whole dance.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Being the conductor of the orchestra, which I love that, by the way, the conductor of the orchestra, all of the responsibility falls on them. So when you become the conductor, you have to take full responsibility. Like, even if someone else messed it up, it falls on the conductor, which is a huge amount on your shoulders. So if you're going to delegate, or you're going to get others in to run the show, and you make sure they run the show, just be very, very mindful that if it doesn't go, or someone doesn't do their job or anything like that, it's not them that takes the blame. You can blame them, but ultimately you have to take the blame as the conductor. And it's like, I don't know, like, that's not for everyone. Richard Branson has to take, he takes the fall, doesn't he? Really?
I was gonna say, that totally goes back to Jocko Willink. I was talking about his book Extreme Ownership, but he's saying in leadership, if you're in charge and something goes wrong, it's your fault. Like, no matter what, you take responsibility. If like someone fucked up, it's like, well, why did they fuck up? Like, just because you didn't explain what was required well enough, or you didn't train them well enough, or maybe they're not capable of that, and then it's your job to get rid of them for the betterment of the whole team. But if you install that ethos, and then the person below you then takes extreme ownership. And because then otherwise, if you blame people, then everyone else blames everyone else. Whereas if you go, oh, sorry, I fucked up, and the person below you is like, oh yeah, but I fucked up, and then
I think
things actually get solved that way.
Yeah, that's the quickest way to resolve any issue. Is like, if you're like, yep, I made the mistake. Let's move on. Let's debrief. Get the next bit on.
Yeah.
Imagine that in a military setting, though. Like how important that is. I'd imagine that's like taken to a next level.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting.
Because there's difference in being a leader and being a boss.
Yeah.
Sort of. I don't know.
They're different.
They're different, aren't they?
Some leaders have been taught differently. Some leaders have been taught to never show weakness to your team. So if you make a mistake, I'd believe in putting your hands up and saying, I fucked up. Like in anything, in family relationships with your girlfriend or partner, even in a team, you've got to take ownership for everything you do. But when it came to some leaders I've met in the past, some of them honestly play that blame game to the point where they can't be seen as a weak leader. I don't know how or why they think that way, but it just will never be their fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it goes back to what we were talking about before, doesn't it? It's actually that's actually a weak-minded approach, isn't it?
Yeah.
As much as actually by trying to come across as a strong person, but blaming everyone else and not taking responsibility is actually weak-minded.
You're teaching your team to pass the blame on.
Yeah, I say you should lead by creed and deed, but I forget. One second. Lead by creed and deed. It'll come back to me.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
It'll come back.
I think the turning point for me was when I was working for other film production companies, like even interning and doing stuff, and I was working so hard for them, and I'm like, I'm just making them money. I'm like, I can work just as hard on my own business, and then my ceiling of how much money I can earn is endless.
Yeah.
If I want to make more money, I can just work harder.
Yeah.
But then if someone's pushing me to work extra hard for them, I'm only making their money, my salary doesn't change. So that was kind of like one of the big things that was the turning point for me starting my own business. Was like, I want to be my own leader. I want to earn as much as I want to earn.
Yeah.
You know, not to be limited to this much. And I know that if I put in a lot more effort, there's a chance that I'm not even going to get any more money.
It's funny because a lot of people, like, I say a lot of people, actually, that's not true. From personal experience, I find that I can push myself so much when I don't have the leadership role. Like, I don't take the full responsibility, therefore there's no risk to me. Whereas when you do own something yourself, you take the risk, whether that's financial, whether that's time, whether that's even face value. Let's say it full ops, let's say it doesn't work out. You've got to face everyone and say, I'm sorry guys, there's no jobs, you're redundant now. You've got to face your workforce and say, I haven't made it work, sorry guys. And that's the risk, right? When you're pushing yourself, you're becoming the best version of you, but you aren't the boss or the owner, you can soar. You'll have belief, you'll have that, because you know in your head there isn't really that much of a risk. If it all goes south, you know, it's not my fault, or it's not my company and stuff. When you do turn up to, when you go be a boss, like you don't make them risky decisions as much sometimes. You've got to be fearless, I think. Calculated, but fearless. Like, if you fear the failure, you're not worthy of the success.
Yeah,
I think failure's the only path. You know, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. So I think if you reframe it, you're like, when a failure happens, you're not surprised. You're like, cool. How are we gonna fix this? It's the only way, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like a slight anxiety when it comes to like growing a business though, as well, because I'm thinking like, when I get to that point where I'm starting to hire people and it's like legit, I'm like, there's kind of no backing out of this now.
Yeah.
Whereas like now I'm in that like kind of freelancing, like it's a limited company, doing my thing, but if I want to bail out and I'm like, screw this, I've got an offer for some mad company, I can jump on it. But once I start hiring people, I'm like, it's kind of set in stone. I might be wrong. I don't have a lot of business experience, but that's another thing that's kind of
tricky.
Like,
it's a hard leap to get over, isn't
like,
it?
do I want to do that yet?
Something I've realised, I think, like with responsibility and stress, I think dealing with stress can be are like resistance training. You take on slightly more than you're comfortable with, but not so much that you get overwhelmed, and then you deal with it, recover, and then if that same thing happens again, it's not quite as stressful.
Yeah.
Because like you've got used to that.
Yeah.
And then you sort of build to a point where something that would have completely overwhelmed you a year ago, you're kind of cool with.
Yeah.
I think it's like a bit like resistance training in that sense.
It totally is. And I've noticed it with a few people. I've seen both extremes. I feel like I got friends of mine, mutual friends of ours, that if you put a shred of like a little bit of pressure on them, they collapse. They're like, oh, and they put so much pressure on themselves. And it's like, it's really not a big deal. Like, you can really relax, like no pressure, but we gotta get this thing done. And it's like, it affects them heavy. I got another friend of mine that runs like director of massive companies, and he, like the shit that he has to face every day. And I still see him in the evening. He's like, hey mate, yeah, good. Like, he can totally like switch, like from like business, getting shit done, managing hundreds of people, and then just going out for a pint, and it's not a big deal. Whereas like I think I stress on a lot of things. Like, I take my work, because my work is 24/7. Like, I just get up in the morning, do editing, and I'll still be working until midnight. So I can't make that switch. But seeing people handle stress in both extremes is really interesting.
It is.
I don't handle stress well.
No.
Yeah,
personally.
so much of it's managing your psychology, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I think everyone's got a breaking point though.
I found
Oh, yeah.
a book by Dan Millman called The Life You're Supposed to Lead. He had a book before called The Peaceful Warrior, and the book itself takes your birthday and it calculates some sort of number that, like me, I'm a 358, I know that, and it gives traits for each number, and it's very precise at how you operate. And once you learn how you operate, you get it. Like, discipline is a huge thing for me. Organisation and discipline. I think that is for a lot of people, but it's particularly for me. Because if I let my life, like you said, if you're not in, I forget what you said earlier, something about the guy that you quoted, his quote was, if you're not...
Discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, discipline equals freedom. And I get it now. I understand that. Whereas for some, they operate out of a mess. They like mess. They like scattered about stuff. They're scattery, and I need structure. You know, if I had daily structure and routine, I'm in a good state. I can perform, build on that structure, build my resistance, build the resilience. But the scattered brain, I don't know how some people do it. Like, I don't know about your friend, but the one you said can switch on and off.
Oh yeah.
I can't. I'm like a wave. I'm on waves. If I'm working, I'm working. Don't bother me. I lock everything off. I've got to get something done. I wave. And then it's like we're on holiday. Holiday time, lock off work. If we were focused on holiday, I'm in the moment, present.
Yeah.
You can't be future thinking. That's anxiety. And you can't be past thinking. That's depression. You got to be in the moment. And I don't know. Some people work better like that.
It's
I guess
funny
I'm still learning.
It's cool when you meet people that have that, but when you recognize it, like when you recognize that someone has that about them, it's really cool. I find that now I've become a bit more organized. Like, today's not the best example.
yeah. We're not morning people.
Yeah,
either of us,
I
are we?
honestly, like,
You a lark or a night owl?
yeah.
I don't know.
you somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I guess I can do both. I'm up.
Yeah.
I'm not.
If I've got work, if I got work, I'll get up. I totally, basically, the people that are listening,
I nap midday.
That's wise.
are you a cat napper?
I'm a big napper. Yeah, I'm granddad napper.
I can't nap.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of research on the benefits of napping. I hate that in our culture. That it's like, if you say I'm going for a nap, people will be like, think you're being lazy.
Yeah, but
it actually it
like a
increases
siesta.
productivity.
Yeah.
Like
Before we jumped too far, there was basically, we went out last night. I didn't wake up apart from when Kirk messaged me this morning.
Yeah.
And then Kirk wouldn't have woken up if his girlfriend didn't message him.
yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Yeah,
It's
we
like,
nearly
thanks,
just completely just
It was
didn't turn up.
But you did turn up, so
we
Yes.
made it happen. That's
We
it.
made it
That's
happen.
the important thing.
That's
But
it.
yeah,
I schedule naps. I think if you plan the nap, if you book the nap, it's good. try and stay to the plan, because then you know it's coming. You can prepare yourself for it. You can say to
Get your
yourself,
PJs
right,
and the
between
little hot cocoa.
and you can do that. If it
I
makes
just
you-
imagine a little dark room, like teddy bear.
Imagine corporate people going to the office with a pillow and a teddy. They know
That could
he's a
be
napper.
an amazing, like, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Had a little nap room.
Yeah.
I'd find it takes me like half an hour to fall asleep. I'd just totally, I couldn't do like 20-minute nap.
No.
Although that's like the optimum
Yeah.
time, isn't it?
But I think even just closing your eyes and just resting for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you're on your feet all day, when you just get that chance to lay down, just to take your feet off the floor, you feel it in your legs. You really do. The muscles you don't need to use them. I think it's huge. I think even if you're not sleeping, you can just rest. Like, it's so important. But we're not talking just, sit down and have a cup of tea. Like, I use it as an example. Stay-at-home mums, they're on their feet all the time. It's not easy. I wouldn't like to do that sort of job. That's not really my idea of a job. It's a responsibility, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking them away from, like, you're forced. You're not forced. You don't have to. But you neglect your child. But no, you should definitely, they're on their feet a lot. They don't get to rest as much. But actual rest isn't sitting down and having a cuppa. Rest is really relaxing.
Yeah.
In a form of meditated state almost. So you're not asleep, but you are resting. Do you know what I mean?
do you meditate?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. And yoga. I'm
Yeah.
really in love with yoga at the moment.
Did you hot yoga?
Oh no, I
Me
don't
too.
do
Kirk
extreme. Do you do
Kirk
hot
does
yoga?
all that.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah, I love it.
You're spiritual.
Yeah, I think
I'd say
secular
you are.
spirituality.
Yeah.
I'm not religious.
You're big on meditation.
I love meditation. Yeah, I'm just really interested in exploring the nature of consciousness.
Yeah, man. Like 100%. There's this audio that I'm halfway through at the moment. Yeah, it's called The Untethered Soul, and he explains how when you are in a movie theater, you are so immersed in the film that everything else doesn't matter. You're very, very in it, and a good film will actually capture you. You can't think of anything else. You're so in it. You know what I mean? And you're talking about consciousness. In a state of immerse, you're actually unconscious. You forget that there are 60 other people sitting around you in the room. You forget you're in the movie theater. You forget everything. You are so in it. Do you know what I mean?
In flow state.
Do you remember that advert that they used to do out of the movies where they'll be like, it would say like count how many passes there are, and it'll be like a group of people and they're just throwing a basketball around. There's like a bunch of people throwing basketball around, but in between that, there's a guy in a bear suit walking around dancing,
Yeah.
and it's like at the end of it, it's like, did you spot the bear? And
You're like,
I
what?
didn't even notice the bear.
Yeah.
I'm looking at how many
Basketballs.
passes have been made,
Yeah.
and I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But in The Untethered Soul, he explains that when you're in the movie theater, they've managed to sync the audio to the action and then the music and everything. It builds this reality that you're now in. And he said, now imagine if you could times that by senses, touch, feel, wind, rain, elements, and then obviously this is three-dimensional. You're so immersed in this that you wouldn't even know if this was a film or not. So when we go into meditation, you can almost step out of it. You can almost understand that what you are isn't this. This is not what Jules. This isn't me. Like what I am is the mind that you meditate with, and I'm still only halfway through it, so I can't really go in on it. But that's the level. That's where I'm at the moment. So when I go into meditation, it's not that I leave everything behind. It's just seeing life like a movie. You can see it either like the movie theater, you're so caught up in it that you don't realize you as you are a conscious mind external. I could cut your arm off right now. Yeah. It's not part of you. Your mind's still the same.
Yeah,
it's hard to explain.
It's so hard.
So
Yeah,
does
it's
monks
hard with meditate. It's one of those things. If you try to explain some of the revelations you have to someone who hasn't experienced it, it just so often comes up as just sounds like hippie bullshit.
I mean,
You're like-
I've tried it.
you're like,
Like
"Oh."
when I speak to Kirk, because you're very knowledgeable about that stuff. But like, I've used that app. I think it was called. I can't remember what it was called. There's a guy that's like talks to you while what?
There's Headspace.
Headspace.
Yeah.
That's what I tried it, the trial thing, and I did enjoy it. But I think that was like a 5-minute one. But then I remember speaking to you, and you've done like hour sessions, like long time. I think I find that quite difficult to like. I mean, you do train yourself to have that flow, and it's all in the breathing. But I think just to put that time away would be quite difficult.
I said on the last podcast where the microphone broke.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think I feel like two analogies are useful. One is when you remember when you're at school or uni and you're genuinely listening to the teacher, and all of a sudden you just come back in the room and you realise you haven't been paying attention for the last 10 minutes, but you wanted to listen, but you've realised your mind's just wandered off, and all of a sudden you've realised and come back in the room. And that's the practice of meditation. You focus on one thing, normally the breath, because it's convenient, and then you focus on the breath, all of a sudden your mind wanders off, and then you notice, you go, oh, my mind's wandered off. And it's that act of noticing that it's wandered off, bringing it back to the breath, and you keep doing that enough. But then once you do it enough, you realise, I said, like, do you ever have really just a weird thought just pops into your head? And you're like, just fucked up. Like when you're a teenager, just the thought of your parents having sex. Just,
you brought that up again.
It gets to the point. See, that's now in your head, isn't it?
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And everyone watching.
But you didn't choose for that to be in there, did you?
No, you did.
Yeah. It just pops into your head and you go, oh, what's that? But you didn't choose to have that thought.
No.
But when you meditate enough, you realise that all of your thoughts are like that. You don't choose any of your thoughts. Your thoughts just arise. They just bubble up, and it's your consciousness is what observes the thoughts as they arise and decides what to do with them.
Yeah.
And that's what you realise, that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts just happen, and you can observe them and let them go. But when you don't meditate, you identify with those thoughts. You think, I am those thoughts, rather than being, oh no, those thoughts are happening, and then I observe them and decide what to do with them.
That always fascinates me with dreams as well. Like, you've just dreamt of like mad shit, and you're like, how the hell did I dream that? Where did that come from? And I guess that's like that same similar, like, what kind of conscious state you're in.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe when you're in your dream state, you just see things that just conjured up.
Yeah, it's very mysterious, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I maybe said it before. Where I had a dream where I was like, I don't know, I have no idea why would I ever even think about that. I was in an antique shop looking at antiques just randomly, and then the guy, a friend of mine that recently passed away, like just walked in, and I was like, what is this, like, how come you're here? He doesn't even live in this country.
I have a theory on dreams.
Yeah.
And obviously there's 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension. We live in 3-dimension world, but we only have the ability to see it with the eyes we're given. So if I had eyes that could zoom, I'd be able to zoom in on this table here and see the bacteria crawling around it. Now, just because I don't have the ability doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We know there's bacteria on the table. We know that there's air without needing to see it, or the particles or whatever. We only have what we are able to do. And just because we can't see the 4th dimension doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know, when you tap into a dream, it's almost like your eyes are irrelevant. Your 3-dimensional body is irrelevant, because the mind has the ability to go into the 4th. So when you dream, that is the 4th dimension.
Yeah.
It just freaks people out because it has the ability to. Sorry,
I guess
It might be an endogenous DMT trip.
Could be.
What's DMT?
Dimethyltryptamine, which is it's quite a very powerful hallucinogenic, actually. But it's actually found in most living things, including us, but just in very small quantities.
Do you remember?
We have that.
Isn't it? They said, going back to like Moses. When you look at the Old Testament, it's all stories.
Yeah.
But actually, there's a lot of truth to a lot of the stories. And it's one of the things that was really interesting to me is when they've actually get the science out of it. And do you remember? I think You know when he went to the burning bush,
Mm.
and that's when he spoke to God.
Mhm.
That's the story, right? That bush, wasn't it the one it's a hallucinogenic bush
Yeah.
that's found in that region?
I think, yeah. Didn't they say it's an acacia bush? And I think it's high in DMT.
Yeah.
So
you
will you
could
smoke
just
it?
No, just being is it being around it, or if the liquid of it, or something?
Yeah, although...
So maybe you're just high as fuck.
Because to...
He's
yeah.
like, I spoke to God. And he was like,
I'm sorry now, just laughing
Yeah.
because it could
Yeah.
be.
but the thing
And
is,
also
that
the
could have been
lotus
it.
flower in Egypt, ancient
Yeah.
Egypt. Yeah, and I believe that... I think it might be DMT, but yeah, I think that's known to have a
That's the thing.
hallucinogen.
Imagine
in
if
it.
you're like super high on this bush, and you're like, yo, it's burning, and I'm hearing things. I mean, that's what. If you're having a mad trip, that's what it could have been.
It's good that it was just the burning bush and he didn't see other thoughts that
Yeah.
people put in your head. Otherwise, you trip like crazy.
Man. But then like you realize all this stuff, and then going back to the big the Ark, Noah's Ark.
Mm.
That was the story of, they built this big. Not that they got 2 of every bloody animal, but there was evidence that 15,000 years ago there was a massive comet that hit Earth, and it was a huge floods. So that could have originated that there was some sort of large boat that was built and it to save some sort of people or animals.
So the thoughts in your head that you don't have control over, it's up to you to choose or not. Like being with ears and eyes, we only hear what our ears can hear because they, like again with the eyes, if I could zoom in,
frequencies, yeah.
if I could zoom in, I'd see the bacteria. I can't zoom with my ears. I don't know how to explain that. Yeah, frequencies then, because
Yeah.
dogs can hear higher frequencies and lower frequencies.
Yeah.
So imagine if I know that there's science to maybe say that I'm just talking shit, but if we could tap into frequencies that only the 4th dimension can hear, maybe that's why in dreams it doesn't make sense, because we're only I'm 30 years old, so for the last 30 years I've only mastered 3 dimension from baby and growth, hand-eye coordination, everything. I understand the 3-dimensional world, but what we're not trained on is the 4th dimension. If we can take ourselves mentally to the 4th dimension through either meditation or sleep or hallucination, surely though we'd be able to tap into better frequencies. Like that's a whole new frequency. I'm probably going off on any topic or subject.
But that's what they
I mean,
think the
no one knows,
ayahuasca
do
stuff
they?
is, isn't it? Like ayahuasca, like being in that spiritual zone
Yeah.
and like
So
having
you maybe
those trips.
It's-
the idea of the words in God, like we say God in this, if Moses heard these voices, not just Moses, let's say for example Joan of Arc, like same sort of situation. She led a whole army of men into battle, where back in them days a woman would just be shot, just shut up woman, do you know what I mean? Not that I'd say
Be
that's
hard
right.
to be a leader then.
Yeah, and then she somehow got the power. She said it was God to lead. She heard the voice in her head or whatever.
Talking of senses, have you ever heard of synesthesia?
Synesthesia.
Yeah, synesthesia.
No.
Mouthful.
Kug, that's why I love Kug. You just be like, have you heard of this?
No, some people have a condition where their sort of senses get cross-wired, and some people will hear music. When they listen to music, they'll actually see colours.
I think I've heard about that.
Yeah, I think some famous composers had it.
Wow.
So, yeah, like they'll listen to a piece of music and it'll be like they'll actually see colour instead of getting auditory signals. They're also getting like visual, because it's all originated in the brain.
Yeah.
So that audio signal is then getting translated into visual signals in the
Yeah.
brain. I don't know. I was just fascinated.
No, I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, it is a.
It's
Fact.
Yeah, the human body is
You
amazing.
know, like this is way out there, yeah. Only because I saw it on YouTube the other day. Quantum physics, like there was something about quantum leaps or whatever. Quantum, when they had like, if it was circles like ripples and that. I don't know if it's atoms or something. I'm way out of my depth here. I'm going in what I can try and remember. They leap, right? So they jump from one to next to next to next. And when they saw it on a screen, it was colours. There were strips of colours. Like, I don't know if that has any relevance to what we're talking about here, but it's something that I saw, and it shows colours in Get it, Jules. Remember it. Fuck's sake.
So, should have brought Matt
I was
over.
going to say I have to get Matt back on.
Matt is actually a quantum physicist.
Right,
He's
he
one of the
will
first
know what I'm trying to explain here. He will probably say, "Yeah, you're trying to say this," and get him on it. Let him hear it. He'll know what I'm talking about. They come up in colours, like neon colours.
Yeah.
So, if that's got anything to do with the sound, visual, and quantum physics, it must all be combined. Because Einstein believed in certainty, didn't he? You just got to find how to connect it all together. That's probably where we are not Einsteins, but give us enough time to focus on this. Like, right, we know that you do have the ability to see music, to hear sound with your eyes visually. We know that's a thing because you've just explained it's a thing. Now can we connect it somehow to, does it have any relation to something else?
Have you seen that film Lucy, the Scarlett Johansson one?
Yeah, mate.
Mate, and the one where they're like, have you seen it before?
No.
So they basically, like, the whole premise of it was like they did experiments on her brain. So instead of using like less than 10% of her brain, she now has 100% of her brain, like the power. So she just has these like amazing mental powers of that that's unlocked.
Just crushing Sudokus. Come on, motherfucker! So
Crosswords making shit.
Nah, she was doing things like controlling her metabolism and eventually defying the laws of like physics. Like she could defeat gravity. She could even control time. She could freeze people and like control matter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wim Hof, Iceman.
No.
He's a guy who does like cold water endurance swimming, but he's trained himself. He can heat up his body at will for his mind. It's bizarre. But he holds the world record for underwater ice swimming.
Yeah.
I think,
I've seen that.
during it, the retinas in his eyes froze.
Oh my god.
He lost his sight underwater.
I like how you're laughing. You're like, he lost his eyesight.
No, I love crazy people.
It's amazing. It's amazing what the
awesome.
human body
I've got
can
a theory
do.
on that. Babies, when they grow up, they see everybody else walking. So it is in them to want to walk. That's all they want to do, yeah? They just want to get up and walk. Now, my theory is, if they grew up seeing everyone hovering, like literally levitating, they would tap into whatever it took or whatever it is that we have about us to levitate.
I think you're stretching it now.
I mean, if there was a physical, yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Because they don't know no different.
Yeah.
We only chose to walk because everyone else. If everyone was walking on their hands,
Yeah.
we would push ourselves just to walk on our hands. We wouldn't even think about walking on our feet.
I guess
Yeah.
like, but with our like biological limits, it would be a bit harder, like to get that sense of balance. But people do it to get walk on your hands.
Yeah.
I guess you could. Maybe levitating would be a bit hard because we haven't done that yet.
Right, because the mind, you only use however much percentage you said we use.
Yeah.
Yet you have a guy here that can control his temperature. You have someone else that can control their metabolism. Dr. Sebi was able to control his immune system. If you do know how to tap in and control certain systems, there's nothing saying that, if you were born on a world where everyone was levitating, you would tap into it. You'd focus. You'd just really just be like, ow.
If it was within the realms of physics. Then
Yeah.
But if you can, I get that. I do get it. I mean, like, there's going to be scientists that hear this and they're going to be like, that kid there is just nuts, mate. Science solves everything. Science. But if we can defy somehow, it's got to be a way. There is probably a way. There's no coincidence that some people get an overwhelming urge of energy when it comes, or power when it comes to things that they have no control over. So that woman that lifted the car off her child, some would say, oh yes, science, it's adrenaline and she conjured the strength. No, her body would crush that under that sort of pressure. There is more to us than just science.
Yeah.
And if you can tap into that, you can probably harness, which I believe is energy all around us. You can absorb it somehow, and that was what gave her the strength.
I guess
the power of the mind.
Yeah,
is
I mean,
not
like
to be
you're
underestimated.
Yeah, like you're saying that, you were talking about frequencies. Like, we don't see the full light spectrum. And I definitely, like, I don't believe in a lot of things, but I definitely believe in, like, good energies. And, like, when you're around someone and you know that, like, you're just like, oh, they're cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, they have good vibes.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. Like, if I hang around good people, I'm like, I feel in a good space. And I think that there could be some sort of like within a light spectrum, like if you could see it, everyone has an aura around them. Everyone has an energy about them because we have electricity in us. Like we have particles in us that create stuff.
Yeah.
So that could be a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
wholeheartedly. And you can increase it. And this is through discipline. Like, for example, Usain Bolt, I'm pretty sure, was the world's fastest man before he showed everyone he was the world's fastest man. That's not to say that there's someone out there at the moment that isn't faster than him. He just got his chance to show the world. But he wasn't born like that. He was definitely born just like you and I, and he couldn't walk at one point. He had to build himself up to harness that sort of energy. And when you do manage to muster that sort of energy and you show the world how great you are, because he is, yeah, it is no coincidence that people are drawn to that sort of energy. I mean, tell me one person that doesn't like Usain Bolt. It's hard to not like him because he has shown what every one of us has inside us, just tapped into it. And that's why great people that can offer great things to the human race are so admired. Because they tap into whatever it is that they can offer, like they can show. Like Phelps, is it, the swimmer?
Yeah, Michael Phelps.
Born the same as you and me, just goes and pushes himself to the point where it's like, right, all of us had that in us, all of us. That's why he's admired. That's why, you know, it's not that he's out to defeat people and make them feel lesser. He's out to lead people and show them you could be this. You know, every one of us could have been Usain Bolt. Someone would say, don't talk to scientists again. No, your genetics and rare, don't talk like that. Usain Bolt tapped into the energy. He took it in, and you know, there was nothing special about Usain Bolt. That's not me saying this wrongly. I'm saying it correctly. There's nothing special about anybody.
That's the thing as
well.
well.
I think we should all set out to try and fulfill our genetic potential.
Yeah,
I think that's
it is interesting as well because when you look at, like, they're saying that he's like there's been so much more faster people and like that's lived before, and when you look at those, like there's like tribal footprints they've been in the past, they've seen from like thousands of years ago, and the stride that these people used to run. They said they used to run like 13 miles an hour.
It was in Australia, wasn't it?
Was that it?
Yeah, it was.
And it's like, man, like he ran. How fast did he run?
I don't know.
Or maybe he ran like 20 miles an hour. But they're saying that they actually used to be.
Yeah, they calculated how fast they would have been running.
Yeah, actually they're running very quickly.
Yeah,
and that's not.
They're not born like that. This is what I mean.
Yeah,
everyone at some point.
But do you not think that? I mean, genetics do play a role as well, though, don't they?
In what?
I mean, if there was someone that had like
other than appearance,
dwarfism.
Yeah, well, but you have a certain genetic potential for certain things. So some people are genetically wired towards certain things, but then I think when you get a champion like Usain Bolt, it takes a huge amount of it's when those two things come together. It's when someone with huge genetic potential and talent also has the work ethic, and they put those two together. That's when you get a champion like Usain Bolt. But I don't think I have the genetic sprinting potential of Usain Bolt if I'd put the same amount of work in. I think it's when the two are combined
that's when you just got to work harder.
Yeah,
I guess so. I guess you could work harder.
I think you are. There are genetic limits.
No,
Do you not think so?
No, I genuinely believe that Usain Bolt just puts more work in than anyone else. He's tapped into what it is that makes him a champion, and that's work. There's no genetic. He has made his body do things precisionally over a course of time, over and over and over. That's why his starting block method is perfect. His run is perfect. He is so streamlined. He's discovered his stride. He has mastered his body to the point where he knows exactly where to put that left leg, exactly where to put that right leg. That works perfectly for his body. So my body does not work the same as Usain Bolt's. I have to work on myself to get myself precision start block, precision gunfire. Like when I hear the gunshot, I'm gone. Like my acceleration. If I know my stride is shorter than Usain Bolt's, then I need to niche myself to make my stride better than Usain Bolt's. It's not because he can stride more. I just need to do my stride better than he does his stride. You know, it's not he takes 20 strides and I take 20 strides. Therefore, the genetic side of things, he will beat me. Nah, if he's got to take 20, I've got to take 24, but I just got to do my 24 better than he does his 20. Yeah.
But then you've got to work. So then you've got to work within your genetics.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
there's no limit. It's just you got to work harder. You got to work, like saying like I've got the potential to run as fast as Jules. I just got to put the effort in.
Yeah, you can run faster
not
than
to
me.
use it as an excuse.
Yeah,
but it's not an advantage.
I think there must be like if you put me up against
a competitive advantage, right? when a baby is born is the same. They are both the same. No baby shoots out the womb knowing math better than. You have to learn that. No baby shoots out the womb and starts crawling straight away.
No,
we're all born.
But they have different genetic potentials.
There's some geniuses, aren't there? Like geniuses.
Right. So I say, for example, you was born and I was born, right? And then I started to learn to walk faster than you. Yeah. And you're telling me that I keep that same level of work that I do, and then you start like a year later or 2 years later, and you're playing catch up almost. But you're telling me that your genetics, if they're better than mine, or if you've got an advantage,
but it's genetics and environment.
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
point. But I don't think genetics play no role, but environment is hugely important as well. I just think they're both at play.
If we're playing basketball and you are genetically taller than I am,
Yes.
you have a competitive advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
How?
Because
Because you're
reach.
taller and closer to the net.
Yeah.
So therefore, it doesn't make you a better player than me.
No, but you've still got height advantage.
Right. So then, like,
So
you're
I'm saying,
telling,
like,
okay,
if
so
I was-
if you're playing basketball and you're taller, you have a genetic advantage in the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, there's been basketball players that are like 5'12", like 5'11", or like just hit 6 foot.
Yeah.
And they're still NBA.
Yeah.
That's because they put a lot of effort in.
Yeah.
But there's still like
They just got to work harder,
But if they had the opportunity to grow an extra foot,
Yeah.
they'd be like, yeah, I'll do that.
just to make their life easier.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, if you
So
put me up
they're
against,
both at play.
Okay, I get your argument now.
Yeah.
I've just answered your. Yeah, I get
so
it. I get it.
So let's say if Kirk was 5 foot
Yeah.
and I'm 6'3", I'd have longer strides, so I'll be able to do longer paces. So that's my little advantage. But if he put effort in, he could definitely be way faster than me.
Maybe genetics do play a role then. Yeah.
It's circumstantial, isn't it?
Yeah. How did you end up in the military?
Propaganda, mate.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. Yeah, I just two things. Ego, propaganda, social conditioning, and I take full responsibility for it all. Just before I start blaming other things, take full responsibility for it all. But I was just caught up. I said this in an interview I did time ago. If I was born in Afghanistan, I'd be Taliban.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, one way or another, but the thing is, the culture of England, I needed to. This is also something to do with my past as well, which I don't actually mind sharing. My father left when I was young. I stepped up, had this whole mindset of being the man of the house. So I had to prove myself as a man, and the only way I could do these things was to be the best. So when I was in school, I had to be the fastest. I had to just be alpha male. This whole mindset, ego, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Army were recruiting with the tagline "Be the best." So, yeah, let's go for it. And I couldn't just be a soldier with a trade. Had to do the fighting role. Had to be the hero. You know, they play on that. They need someone like me, like that. They knew exactly how to recruit me, and it was giving what I needed at the time, what I wanted at the time to prove myself. I bought into it heavily, lived, breathed it. Nothing around it mattered. It didn't exist, and it fed on that. It served me for the time period it did. I went to war twice, came back, learned loads about why I don't want to do it no more and why I needed to do it. Made a lot of mates, lost a lot of mates. Brotherhood is a huge thing that every man, whether he admits it or not, needs. Even sisterhood, girls need it too. Played on that. There is the uniformity, the discipline, you know. You are part of a club. This is why you belong, sense of belonging. No father figure. In the military, you got loads of father figures around. Take good traits from all of them, and it makes you who you are. Then, done my time. Now I'm out. It's one hell of a roller coaster getting out of an institution, so institutionalized. And then my first year in Civvy Street was just insane, mate. Really insane. Trying to learn, accepting people and accepting what everything was in there isn't reality. It was very, very bubble wrap.
I guess you're not. Yeah, no one's given sort of guidance of how to transition between the two, are they? Or are they? You're just expected to just go back to a different way of life and just get on with it, aren't you?
Yeah.
But the transition must be tricky. So were you in Afghanistan twice?
Yeah, went to Afghanistan twice, and both times Helmand. Funny, the same place, like Nadi Ali. So I knew it quite well my second time round.
Is it something you might? It seems like a universal thing that people that have seen war there's just certain things they don't want to talk about it. And what do you think it's not wanting to relive experiences, or you just realise that the people you're talking to will never understand unless they've experienced it?
Bit of both.
Yeah,
100% bit of both. I can't capture to you like a whole year of my life in Afghanistan that I just cannot try and get it in one sentence. It is a lot easier if you were there, because you'd get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of veterans like other veterans, because we can talk about it, we can relate to it, get it. There's some things that you just don't want to talk about. Sometimes you just don't want to tell people. Like, they ask the questions. Like, I try to talk to some kids in school, and the first thing they always want to know is, did I kill anyone? And I don't really like talking about things, because sometimes it reminds you just how much of a mistake things were. At the time, you believed it was right. At the time, you didn't see it outside. But again, when I realised if I was born in Afghan, I'd be Taliban, I'll be honest and open about it. My second time in Afghanistan, I realised that if we don't shoot, they don't shoot. And sometimes there's a man there, has a wife and kids, and he's just fighting because we've invaded his country.
Yeah.
You know,
there's like a level of brainwash as well.
Yeah, I was very.
Like, people are telling you, like, you got both sides. You got both sides propaganda, and it's like, well.
Yeah, I guess that's what I've always sort of felt. It's so hard, isn't it? Because we obviously need a military and defence. But then I feel like I've had an issue of, I feel like, yeah, if I joined up, then I've got. I don't trust the decision making of a politician who's sending me to somewhere.
This is exactly why a lot of veterans get pissed off, because they know they have to take full responsibility for them being mindless. We weren't very mindful. You get told what to do, you do what they tell you. I know I might have upset a few people in a previous podcast that I mentioned the words that you're not a man if you go in the military. Doesn't make you a man at all. You know, you are a boy. You will constantly be told by your master what to do, and you will do it. And that, therefore, in my opinion, doesn't make you a man. Real men take full responsibility for their life, and they take care of their family and their wife and their friends and the community, and we step up to do what's right. Weak men make other men do dirty jobs, man. And I was not going to be that man anymore. Couldn't be it, because I wasn't a man, I was a boy. A lot of friends, a lot of people in the military, I've got to be very careful with how I say this, because I don't want to upset people. It's not fair, but you definitely need to know truth. One thing I won't shy away from is truth, and truth is there is no need for war anymore. Okay, no need. Speaking from experience, and it's all fun and games until you want to play the blame game. But the fact and truth of the matter is, you were not forced. You were not forced. You did it all by choice. The world doesn't owe you anything. A lot of veterans, and they get upset. A lot of soldiers get upset. They think the world owes them something. That's why the first year out the army was hard for me. Thought the world owed me something. It didn't owe me nothing. All of it was by choice. I wasn't forced to go to war. A lot of soldiers live on previous soldiers in the world wars. Yes, we had to go to war because invasion from the Nazis. They were out there killing thousands.
It's pretty cut and dry, that one, isn't it? Okay. I've got to step up there.
I've got a couple of friends of mine, like, they've been to Iraq like years ago, and I remember them, like, they've moved to the States now. They like I've got another friend of mine that was in the Marines, and he was saying, like, when I went to visit them, they get so much respect, and I really appreciate seeing the patriotism of that you're serving for the country, you're helping. That's all part of, like, a deep rooted, like, I don't want to use the word propaganda, but like
nationalism.
Yeah, nationalism, deep rooted nationalism, and I really actually like that, because when I got one friend that was in the US Marines, and then he had, like, you get so much respect, even if you served years ago, that you're a veteran, we got to look after you. Whereas you get another friend of mine that was in the British Marines, and you get nothing. He's like, I left, and that's it. Like you were saying, there's no glory afterwards, and it's like you've spent you're risking your life, and for the country, and then you don't really get any support.
I used to defend being a soldier. I used to tell people when I had friends. I used to always say what I'm saying now, as a civilian, and I, as a soldier, would turn around and say, "Do you like drinking that can of Coke? Because you wouldn't have it if it weren't for soldiers." I used to defend the military with my life. I would serve. I would just be so fixed in my mind that if you say one bad thing about the army, I'm coming on you, like I'm gonna flipping do you. Like I dare you to flipping step to me and tell me something about the military. I dare you. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of civilians get intimidated by soldiers that are like that because they don't want to say the wrong thing. Well, I'm a veteran now, and I'm a civilian now, and I will stand here and say whatever, mate. Do you know what I mean? Yes, I enjoy drinking this can of Coke. Because if it weren't for civilians, you wouldn't be drinking the can of Coke either. So, calm down. And second to that, a lot of soldiers that haven't been to war can't appreciate why I talk the way I talk now. They've just gone in, proved themselves to earn their membership in the club, and that's it. You know, and there's a lot of civilians out there that have achieved greatness daily. And when I talk about greatness, I'm talking about saving people's lives daily. They're the people that we should be holding in high regards. They're the ones should be getting this nationalism or this glorified.
Yeah, this pride. Because they're thinking like, especially like doctors.
We don't take care of the people enough that are making the changes. Instead, the social conditioning or the propaganda or the mindset is value our troops, because then we can recruit more of them. If you make someone like a soldier be held in so high regard, more lads want to be that. I was a part of it.
It's an age-old tactic, isn't it?
Yeah, but what do you think of like national conscription? Because I feel like, I mean, what I've seen, my involvement in it is like I've just observed, like in Israel, what they've done. Everyone serves, boy, girl. No one gets let off unless you're very religious, or there's something that you definitely can't do. But everyone has a role. Everyone has to serve their time, and I think like that just takes all the stigma out of it. Because no matter what you do, there's no ego boost. There's no like, I'm in the military, you're not. I know things now. It's like everyone's done it.
I imagine
like you're nothing special. We've all served. We're all part of reserve. We're all working together as a team.
I imagine that must help with a lot of people at that age in character building.
Not only that, it's discipline, because a lot of troubled teens think they know all the shit, and then they just go. They spend a couple of years. They work with some really good leaders. They find out what they're good at. They do tests and saying like, right, we think you're actually going to be really great as a military police, or we think you're going to be great in the front lines, or working with the tanks, or doing a big jet fighter. Everyone finds like what they're good at, and then they get to be pushed in that, and then you have the opportunity afterwards. Like so many like fighter jet pilots become commercial pilots afterwards because they've got the skills for it. And I think like that country's been really built up in that sense. Like we're all working as a team, which is quite nice, and there's not a segregation, which I feel like there is.
I wonder, you could almost do that. You could almost have a national service, but it doesn't necessarily have to be military, does it? You do a year in a hospital, or
that would be really good. I'd definitely, if there was a national. But then, I remember because when I got my papers, because I live here, I have the opportunity to do national service or not, and we chose not to. My dad was like, "Get your education done first. If you decide you want to do it, you're welcome to, but do your degree."
I think now it shouldn't even be nationalism, it should be globalism. Like, we are the first generation to know there's a problem in most old systems that no longer serve us. And we're also the first generation to make a change. It's very difficult for older generations, especially in different countries that have got separate agendas. Now, thanks to the birth of the internet, I'm connected to the globe. I can talk to someone in China, Italy, wherever around the world, and we all know now we're in it together globally. So let's stop this old mindset that they're still trying to control us with, divide and conquer, that whole thing. And we should all realise, wait, how can we become global? There's always interesting points of topics for that. Like, I guess like you're saying, we're like the first part of the generation. I think it'll take hundreds of years before there'll be.
It's trying to overcome that deep-seated tribalism we have in our brains, isn't it? And appealing
I think there's always comes back to that. Always like there has to be a sense of community. There's always like going back to what I was saying before we did the podcast. Like there has to be a sense of struggle. There's always something that you're fighting to get. Everyone wants that, so I'd imagine what that would be on that, like a global level. Like, what would it be? could be curing a disease. I don't
World peace.
know. World peace. It's interesting though, man. They're like, honestly, it's just great, like, to see different perspectives as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, yeah, world peace would be amazing.
I think what's important is communication. People that can just have open discussions without no violence. Just like, what's your opinions on this? What's that?
Yeah.
There's just so much.
It's easy for me to say, but to do, all you can do is what you can do, right? Like,
Yeah, you just manage your own psychology and try to be a positive influence, and that's all you can do, isn't it?
yeah.
On that good note,
On that good note, thank you for coming.
Mate, it's been awesome, man.
Yeah,
You're
really
a smart
enjoyed
man,
it.
man. I need
Thanks so
to
much for coming, man.
definitely do this again, Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Good
Definitely.
for this.
Cool.
So I appreciate that.
Signing out.
Happy days.